Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today for our final card in this week's stamp set of the week, Terrific Toadstools. And we're going to have a funky fold. So let's bring in the card and you can see what we've got. So it is this card. It stands up. It's a bit difficult to show you. It stands up like that. So it's a tent fold, but it has a window sheet in the middle so you can see what's underneath. So let's bring in the supplies and we can begin. So let's see what I've got. So the first thing I've got is a piece of, she says trying to, there we go. Now this is Pebble Path. It measures 11 inches by 4 and we're going to score it at the 5.5 mark in a moment. I have a piece of designer series paper which measures 3 3/4 by 5.5. I have a window sheet. These bits. I have a window sheet. Now that measures 4 inches by 3 1/8. I have a white piece of cardstock, which is the inside layer. My words don't seem to be forming today. I do apologise. And that measures 3 3/4 by 5.25. So it's not our normal length. I then have a sentiment strip, which is 7/8 by 3 5/8. And then, oops, just about to drop it. No, I've got it. This is 3/4 inch by 3.5. And that is for our sentiment. I have used the Spotlight on Nature and cut out myself 2 circles. The largest one is in Pebble Path and then the other one is in white. I have already fussy cut one stem for stalk for the toadstool and the head of the other one, and I've also punched out one stalk for that as well. I do apologize, all my words just seem to be vanishing today. Okay, so let's dig in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to work on the base card. So we need to score that at 5.5. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. There we go. And I need to find the 5.5 mark, which is there. And I'm just going to score it. And then what I need to do is I'm just going to fold it over. So that gives you the tent. So now we need to create the space for the window. Excuse me. So I'm going to move this edge down to the 4-inch mark and I am going to cut it. It's always a bit nervy when you're going to do that, but it is fine. So you'll have this little flap. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this strip and you are going to cut off 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches. There we go. You don't need this piece, you can pop it aside. And this is your piece to go on the bottom down here, like so. While we're here, we might as well cut our designer series paper. So I'm going to bring that back in. So it is already 3 3/4, but I need it to be 1.25 inches. And I need 2 of those. So I'm going to go to 1.25, like so. That's 1. And then 1.25 for the second piece. There we are. Oops, stay there. Perfect. And then we have this piece spare. Right, so that is all the cutting we need to do. While we're here, we might as well just quickly pop our cards, our DSP on top of our card. So I will grab my stamp and seal. I wonder if it's too early in the morning. This paper I've used is the Toadstool freebie paper that was available in February. I thought the piece I had on Wednesday was my last piece, and then I found this piece. So I was like, yay! But that really is the last piece. So it's really served me quite well. There we go, so that's that one. And then I'm going to add this piece to the top of the other one. There we are. Okay, and then that will go, behave. on there like so. Oh, excuse me. I'm just going to make sure that is burnished down. So there is the 2 pieces. So now what we need to do is to bring in our tearing tape. Now we need to cut the tearing tape for this, not tear it. And I'll explain why in a second. So taking the tearing tape, you're going to add it to the very edge of your top flap, like so. And then you're going to come along here and you're going to cut it. When you obviously tear it, you get a jagged edge. And it actually shows through, excuse me, it actually shows through underneath. So if you've got a nice edge, it doesn't look horrendous. Obviously, you could, if you wish to, you could cover that up by putting an added piece of paper, cardstock or designer series paper over the top. I felt it added just too much bulk on this occasion. So I'm going to add the strip to that bit there. So down to there. And all the way across to the end there. Perfect. Excuse me. Right, so bringing in your piece of window sheet, what you're going to do is you're going to line this strip up like that. Literally doesn't need to be any deeper than the actual strip of glue. Right, let's bring in my pointy toe. No, that's the one that does not have a point on it. That's not very good, is it? Okay, I'm going to use my scissors just for quickness. Pop you aside. Okay, so you just peel that back. And then you layer this on the top there. Okay, and then that's that piece stuck. Oh dear. Excuse me. Right, so I'm going to layer that. Oh, there we go. A true little greenhouse video. I'm now going to take this strip off. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down and make sure that it lines up with the edge of the card base. Like so. I'm going to bring the flap over and push it down. And you will see that that literally lines up onto there. So that is the basics of the card straight away. What we need to do now is to insert our inside layer. Come on. Okay. And that goes into there. And all that is left now is to add our embellishments. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create the sentiment. So let's get that done. So I have got the happy birthday sentiment and I'm going to stamp it in. I've got the smoky slate out, but I think I'm actually going to swap it for Pebble Pile. So bear with me 2 seconds. There we go. It's a good job all my inks are behind me. Right. So I'm just going to stamp that up and then wonder where it gone then. Vanished. Straight down, straight up. There we go. So that's the happy birthday. I'm going to give that a chance to dry. I'm going to put that up there. And now we can move on to our others. So before we glue this onto that one, I'm going to bring in my piece of scrap paper. I have the detailed stamp that we used on the first card, which is like all the writing. And I've got crumb cake. I'm just going to stamp over this, or ink over the stamp. And then I'm just literally going to stamp over the whole circle, straight down and straight up. There we go. So we can take that away now, and that can be stuck onto there. And I'm going to use my glue, my multi-purpose glue for this one, just so that I can have a bit, come on, a bit better precision. Give myself some wriggle room. I seem to be working in my own light, so I'm going to put my over camera light on, so bear with me. There we go. Hopefully you will all be able to see that much better, and there won't be too much shadow. Right, so that's that down. That will then go over to there. I was worried you'd get too much glare here. All right, let's hold that back for a second, and we can create our toadstools. So I've already cut out the largest one. I've punched out that one. I've cut out that one. So my largest toadstool, which I've obviously pre-stamped, I've stamped in shaded spruce. So let's do that there. There we go, that's that one. And then my second one down is in Blackberry Bliss. Let's turn that upside down and poke that through. And there's the second one. Right. Oh, I just need one more stalk, which I have already done. There we go. And then that can go into there. Oops. And there's that one. Right. Okay, so now we just need to pop it all together. So I'm going to work it out how to do it. So I'm going to have this one flat. As in the previous video, I am going to attach the stalk of the toadstool before I actually stick it to the circles. Hopefully it will stay there this time. Not literally, thank you very much. That's that one. I'm going to do this one, which will go underneath. This one I know is going up on dimensionals, so I'm going to not worry about gluing it and just pop a dimensional on the top. There we go. So that's that one. And then this one also gets stuck. So let's do a little bit of glue here. And hold it in place. Come on, you. Give it a couple of seconds to use up its wriggle room. There we go. So there are our 3 toadstools and our embellishments. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this one and I'm going to lay it flat onto there. So I'm just going to run my glue over the top of this and down the base. So that sits just over there. I'm then going to add my second toadstool, and that will sit on there, but I'm actually going to raise it on dimensionals. So where have I put those now? There they are. So you can do one in the middle here. I've got a half a one which will go down here, and then I will do these 3. definitely seem to have a frog in my throat today. So that will sit on there like that. So let's take those off. So once you have put your card paste together, and everything's cut out, comes together quite quickly really. So an impressive card for not a lot of time, which is what we like. There we go, so that's that one. And now this one, I need to have a little bit of dimension down there. So I'm going to bring in my scissors and see if I can chop a tiny piece off. So what I might do is just do a slice there. There we are. And then I'm just going to add that to there. And bring this in. There we are. Perfect. And then that will go down there. Perfect. Lovely. Now, yeah, no, I'm happy with that. So that can now go onto here. So obviously we don't want the glue to stick up here, so we're going to have to work out where we want this to sit. So it's about, roughly about there. So as usual, turn it over. And you're working out that the glue is just down this bottom part here. So I'm just going to hold it there. Bring it back, and then we're going to stick it down like so. Before we firmly stick it, make sure the glue isn't showing. So there's a tiny bit there. So we just need to bring it a touch further down. There we go. And it's sorry, the glue was showing just there, so it's just disappeared in case that was off camera. Apologies. Now the next thing to do is to add our happy birthday. So I'm going to use my stamp and seal for that. Line that up. Like so, and then dimensionals, one at either end and one in the middle. Perfect. And then that, whoopsie daisy, will go onto there. There's not much space there, might have to change that. And that, come on, over you go, is the sentiment. So there are our two cards. I quite like the colours on that. I'm really pleased. I wasn't sure, but you know, they worked really well. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. I will be, well, I won't be back next week. I'm actually away with my husband for a couple of days. I'm hoping to get some videos out, so fingers crossed, but if not, apologies. But I will be back the week after. So whatever you do, take care and happy crafting. Bye.